each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. Saturday. A day of the week we used to drink. All right. What was it? I drank as long as the day ended with a Y. All right. Or had the word day in it. Waking up 10 o'clock in the morning, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Then it turns into, well, it's noon somewhere, because I guess noon is a legitimate drinking time. Whereas alcoholics, a legitimate drinking time would be, well, I'm awake. My eyes are open. Right? Aren't these some of the things that, just like I was to, oh, you try cheating. Just like any serious drinker, we each had an age that we picked that we were going to die by. All of us did it. Mine changed because I got to those ages and then I was still alive. But it was this rebel lifestyle, right? Because we alcoholics kind of define this rebel lifestyle that we live. Enjoy kitty. Yes, I know. I love you too. Yes, I do. Yes. Can you hear his purring? Here, we'll put it up to the mic. There you go. There, now you can probably hear it. All right, so we're going to be in the big book. There is a reading today, a day at a time out of the literature, and then we're going to get to the big book. So let's do the day at a time first. Go ahead and get started this morning. Oh, it's always weird because Saturday mornings are usually my lowest. I just remembered I had a dream last night that I was doing a live. Huh, weird. I don't remember anything else. Hold him to the mic. Well, he's kind of gone. Well, he's right there. He'll come back up here. I'll try it again though. But good morning, Amber. Good morning, Heather. Good to see you both. I'm sure he'll jump up here wanting more love here very shortly. So April 12th, if we attempt to understand rather than understood, I was thinking of the wrong prayer. I was thinking of the wrong prayer. It's probably going to change a little bit. I apologize. This is the 11th step prayer. Or what we would call the St. Francis prayer. So that's just my dyslexia mixing things up. So we'll probably go into that instead. We'll see what happens here. So if we attempt to understand rather than be understood, we can more quickly assure a newcomer that we have no desire to convince anyone that there is only one way by which faith can be acquired. Yes, hi. He's rubbing on my elbow and cleaning my elbow at the moment. So he can't really clean it as much as he slobbered all over it. Jerk. Yeah. Are you slobber purring? He's like, that's my call. Here I come. All of us, whatever our race, creed, color, or ethnic heritage, are children of a living creator with whom we may form a relationship upon simple and understandable terms. You're back, aren't you? He's not a very loud purr. Now, if I went and got Sawyer, he does what I call a pre-purr. He starts purring before I even pet him. He's like, look, I'm purring, Dad. Aren't I cute? Yes, you are. Come here. There you go. All right. Let's see here. Did you hear that? I'm not going to torture him anymore. He loves his dad. Yes, he does. Oh, there we go. That's what he does. Okay. And the biting comes. He just gets too excited. He has to bite something. Not my nose, though. All right. Yes. All right. Let go. All right. Okay. Back to the reading. Now that my nose is all wet. Okay. As soon as we are willing and honest enough to try, I'm going to start over a little bit here. Children of a living creator with whom we form a relationship upon an understandable terms. As soon as we are willing and honest enough to try, do I know the difference between sympathy and empathy? Can I put myself in the newcomer's shoes? In the newcomer's shoes, right? Where'd I leave my phone? I know where I left my phone because we're going to look some things up here real quick. Because we got to know the difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy bad, empathy good. This is the way I usually describe it. Let's just find out here. What is the difference between empathy and sympathy?
Empathy involves understanding and sharing.
I don't like that AI voice, so we're going to turn it down. All right. Empathy involves understanding and sharing feelings with another person, while sympathy is feeling sorry or pity for someone else's misfortune. It's kind of like being grateful because you have a roof over your head, but other people do not. It's kind of the same thing. See, that gratitude that we call it is actually sympathy. I know, man. I know I'm kind of a jerk. I mean, take that from you. But it's true. Right? It's not any different than wishing bad karma on someone. Now, see, sympathy does not involve a solution. That's one of the bigger things. All right. So when we're doing a gratitude list and we're grateful for something that somebody else doesn't have, that's more sympathy than it is gratitude in my book. And I'm not trying to take away from your lovely mornings with starting with a gratitude list. I'm certainly not. It's a good way to start a day. But let's think a little bit further. Here's a great situation. I've been thinking about it this morning. A lot of people have been, they lost their jobs in the recovery field because the money's gone. And I was thinking about that. And a lot of people are, I lost my job. And they're whining about that. But nobody's talking about what's going to happen to the clients they have. That's the difference between sympathy and empathy. And the way I kind of see it is if your thoughts weren't on your clients, you're in the wrong fucking field. Then you don't belong in this field. If your main concern was not for the people that could no longer be helped, you are in the wrong field. I want you. I'm broke. I help people. I'm broke. Suddenly all these recovery coaches are going to start need to use their own resources, and their resources suck. See, when your ideal was to go after the government money, and then you depended upon that government money, and now you're whining that you don't have a job. I'm sorry, but that is something selfish that you did that later placed you in a position to be hurt. And this is very much step 3. Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that we did something in the past that later placed us in a position to be hurt. So you can either whine or you can accept the consequences, change your sails. Because I see this as an opportunity to help more people. That's what I see. I have a much different view of what's going on out there than a lot of the people in the recovery field. And I've been bringing hope to people, is what I've been doing. All right. Empathy is about actively trying to understand their perspective and feelings, even if you haven't experienced the same thing. Sympathy is more about acknowledging their hardship and expressing concern, but it doesn't necessarily fully grasp in their emotional experience. All right. Talks about different types of empathy, but that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about, we're going to start calling lawyers again. Government is freaking out. Which government's freaking out? I don't understand. I think things are going pretty darn good, but all right. Can I put myself in the newcomer's shoes? In other words, we're going to meet them where they're at. We got to meet newcomers where they are at. All right. Let's get through this so we can get where I said we do step 3. So we're going to do step 3. It's a reason it came to my mind, and I ain't going to argue with God. May I try to love all humanity as children of the living God. May I respect the different ways through which they find and worship him. May I never be so rigid to discount another's path to God, or so insensitive that I use fellowship of the group as preaching ground to extol my religious beliefs as the only way. I can only know what works for me. I'll remember we are all children of God. Your path to God is your own. It's a private affair. I found, at least in my experience working with other people, that step 3 seems to come to those people while they are alone with God for the first time. It's a very personal thing. Just that your spiritual experiences are going to be different than mine. Your road to recovery is going to be different than mine. That's why we need to hear everybody's different experiences. All right. So we're going to go to page 62. Because that's where it's at. So I already I didn't read it, but I already said the first paragraph out loud, which is the selfishness, self-centeredness that we think is the root of our troubles, right? Okay, so we're going to get to the next paragraph. So our troubles, we think, are now basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot. There's a lot of self-will run riot, but we alcoholics take it to an extreme, though he usually doesn't think so. There's the denial. That is the denial that comes with the disease. Oh, but hey, I'm not as bad as that crackhead that lives next door, though. We'll find different reasons, right? When really it comes down to that I'm not doing anything better than they are. I'm not. Okay. We tend to think that drugs are the lower form. They just tend to take you to different sorted places. But alcohol is still the number one killer. It kills 500 people a day, every day, consistently, and has for hundreds of years. Yes, it has. Has not changed. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of the selfishness. We must, or it kills us. God makes that possible. I absolutely can, Amber. I absolutely can do that. Amber's asking me to send a picture of my chip. I'm presuming the one that you gave me last year. Yep. 4 days. My birthday's in 4 days. I was thinking about asking the group if they wanted me to tell the story on Grassroots. We must, or it kills us. God makes that possible, and there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without His aid. Okay, this is where perfection is going to come in again. Many of us had moral and philosophical convictions galore, but we could not live up to them, even though we would have liked to. I need a new set of morals. I needed, 488. I just rounded up to 500, give or take 10 people. All right. That means 5 people an hour. Actually, it's less, it's more than that. What is 488 divided by 24? 20 people an hour die from alcoholism. That means that while we've been talking almost 20 minutes, that 2 or 3 people have died from alcoholism. That's the reality of it. It's still the most dangerous drug. Yeah. Okay. Neither could we reduce our self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on our own power. We had to have God's help. It was the only way I found. It is the only way that for me, I know people that have gone different routes, and they don't see things quite like I do. I mean, it is a little different, and I certainly respect it. How could I not? They're living a good life. They're helping people. They have joy in their lives. Who am I to argue with that? See, the way I see it is they may be denying it, but because they are helping God's children, God is helping them. I see it. Maybe they don't need to see it. Maybe it's not for them to see. Right? But I have found that the people because I've talked to a lot of people, I've interviewed a lot of people. I mean, I talked to a lot of people, different kinds of people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. It's run the gamut, man. And a lot of it is the same. We're all the same. The way I see it is you're not really any different from me. If you're a child of God, you might be, we're not, this is the way that I like to say it. We're not terminally unique, but we are beautifully unique. Everybody's got their stuff, man. Things we're all good at. There's things there's things that I'm bad at that you might be good at. That's why we work in groups. So that we can use the talents of each person, because each person has their talent, and it is needed. It is needed. It isn't the people that just, it'd be a fallacy to think that the people that just recover out loud are the ones getting things done. That is not true. No. Behind the scenes is so much more important. It is. And I understand a lot of workplaces where they have the 80-20 rule, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. That's got to end in AA. Everybody's got to put in their fair share, or it won't work, man. What you'll get is people controlling meetings because nobody is willing to chair because they have fear, and they have the fear because they're not close enough to God yet. They haven't obtained the courage in order to, and it's just reading from a piece of paper. Right? When people tend to think, being chairing a meeting is not about power or control. It's about humility. You may spend all day thinking up a great topic, and you go to the meeting and somebody will pick a weird ass topic. Some people come up with some of the weirdest topics. And then they're like, and then when they pick that hard topic, what I do is I say, okay, would you like to go ahead and explain that? would you like to explain that? Well, no, you came up with the hard topic. You're going to go first. All right. If you're bringing up a topic because you want to sound good, I'm gonna make it hurt a little. But anyway, I did it yesterday. Just a weird topic. What do you mean by that? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Well, then maybe it ain't a topic. But bring up to it. So but back to the example, you spend all day coming up with this great topic and somebody picks something else. Humility. That's God working in the meeting, oftentimes. And you can still here's the thing, you can still use your topic. Because it doesn't matter what the topic is. I mean, it does and it doesn't. So the topic is to guide people on what we're talking about today. I go to one meeting, they read the big book, and somehow there's supposed to be a topic. They don't even pick one. And people are often confused and they wonder why nobody's saying anything. So then what happens is everybody just shares where they're at, and that leads to whining and dumping in a meeting. Alcoholics need direction. It is the chairperson's job to direct the meeting. It really isn't that hard. Just follow the directions on the paper, and other people in the meeting have your back. So don't worry about it. Give it to God. Pull up your big boy, your big girl panties or pants. YouTube screen me asking you to call me when you're done. Do you need me to call you when you're done? Or when I'm done? All right. If so, send me a text and let me know. All right. This is the how and why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. Next, we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, God was going to be our director. He is the principal. We are his agents. He is the father, and we are his children. Most good ideas are simple, and this was the concept. And this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arc through which we pass to freedom. This is where I found my higher power. He is the Father. We are his children. That's where I found my connection. So you got to find your connection. That one was mine. When we sincerely took such a position, and here we are at the third step, promises. Right. So third step, promises. And I'm going to start to kind of wrap this up. So when we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer. Being all powerful, he provided what we needed as long as we kept close to him and performed his work well. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs. More and more, we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life as we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of his presence. We began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. We were reborn. That last word used to scare the shit out of me. It did. I didn't know if I wanted to be reborn. I didn't know if I wanted to. It's like, well, so far life has been shit. So I'm going to be reborn for more stupid shit. But I was wrong on that. Just like I was wrong on a lot of things. Now we're going to get to the third step prayer. But before we get to it, I'm going to read the paragraph below it. We found it very desirable to take this spiritual step with an understanding person, such as our wife, best friend, or spiritual advisor. But it is better to meet God alone than with one who might misunderstand. And I'm glad that they put that in there. Because the people that I did the fourth step with, or the third step prayer with, I don't think they felt like I felt. I felt misunderstood. Right? When it comes to my higher power, I'm extremely selfish. I'm very, very selfish when it comes to my higher power. You can't have my higher power. I'm not even going to offer it. My higher power get you drunk. You got to go find your own. It's like an Easter egg hunt. You got to search. You got to hunt. Find them eggs. All right. The wording was, of course, quite optional. I know a lot of people that rewrote their own 4-step or 3rd step, and it works for them. Wrote their own 3rd step prayer. And I say this prayer every single morning. So the wording was, of course, quite optional, so long as we express the idea of voicing it without reservation. This was only a beginning, though if honestly and humbly made, an effect, sometimes a very great one, was felt at once. So let's get to the 3rd step prayer. Now we are now at step 3. Many of us said, to our Maker, as we understood him, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. All right. So what am I doing? I'm asking God for direction for the day there. What is it that you need done? What needs to be done today, God? Who can I help? What can I do? Okay. But if I'm not being, if I don't offer, see, this is an offering, like a sacrifice. It's an offering. God, I'm offering myself to you. And I want him to build me in the likeness that he needs me. Relieve me of the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. That's the big one in there for me. Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm kind of selfish, man. I'm a dick. Well, I don't want to say I'm a dick because that's name calling, but I am kind of grumpy. Not as bad as I used to be. All right. I've gotten better at, but it helps that I don't have PTSD nightmares. I had one last week, but it didn't continue. Thank you, God. So take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. What's it saying? God, please make me a good example so that your children may bear witness to your omnipotence. That's what it means to me. All right, friends, that's going to be it for this round. Kind of a busy day. I might be back a little bit later. We will see. I've got a couple of things I got to get done today. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And